Hello, welcome to another episode of Nostalgic Nerdery. Today, we will recount some old Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I played in. There were several of us playing. We were doing a kind of a Greenskins campaign, monsters. Somebody was playing a Kobold variant. I was playing an Air Goblin rogue. The Kobold was an archer. We had a half-ogre cleric who used abyssal herder feats, and we had a troll. The troll was played by someone who was in and out of the campaign, so kind of took turns, him being a PC and being an NPC that we controlled. Anyway, we get to a Dwarven city. We had to assail it, get to the dungeon area, and rescue somebody for our armies that they needed. So we get to the Dwarven city. I'm scouting ahead. I come to a room where the silver dwarves and a big table, large cask of dwarven ale, potent stuff. They're eating, they're drinking, they're partially drunk at least. I've got an amulet that gives me Mage Hand at will. Mage Hand's a 5-pound telekinesis. So I turn on the keg. So it's just leaking dwarven ale everywhere. Well, one of them hears it, gets up, goes over. Hey, which one of you left this running? It closes it, A few minutes later, I turn it on again. Different one gets up. What are we complaining about? I thought you closed this one. And, turns it off. I do it a third time. They all get up and go over and start looking at it. Finally figuring out something strange is going on. Well, then I also TK a candle that's lit over into the Dwarven Ale. Most campaigns, Dwarven Ale is extremely potent, extremely alcoholic, and therefore extremely flammable. So they're burning, it's burning, everything's burning. The troll and half-ogre rush forward and flip the giant table onto them. So everything's on fire. Well, when the dwarves are finished, it doesn't take long in that situation. We put out the fire, best of our ability, search the room. There's a door. Open the door. There's like a shimmering portal. There's runic characters carved around the archway. Well, this is the first we found of these portals. Turns out there's multiple portals running throughout the entire Dwarven city, teleports you one place to another. First time we found it though, so no clue what exactly it is. So we grab one of the Dwarven bodies, we put it through the portal, up, down, pull it back out. The corpse is intact, well enough, but we need to sleep. It's late. Cleric needs to get back some spells. We close the door. The cleric sleeps against the door. Remember, he's a half-ogre, so he's big. Shortly after we start to rest, there's just a pounding on the door. A half-ogre, feeling the impact, wakes us all up. Open the door. Two dwarves just shoulder tackle through the portal into the room, apparently trying to get through the door. Slam the door shut. We make quick work of the two dwarves. And we hear more slams against the door. Not wanting to be assailed constantly by a large number of dwarves, the half-ogre and troll try to break the portal. They smash the archway, open up the door, and little pieces of dwarf start flying through the portal. The portal's now broken and sharp, like a mirror being smashed. It's all broken up. Apparently, it means that the portal is now like a Ginzu blender. Just shredding dwarves are coming through the portal. And then they stop. We are informed by the DM for the player's knowledge that on the other side of the portal was a dwarven courtyard with a decent number of dwarves in it. And so, from their perspective, what they saw was just a dead dwarf turned sideways. You just stick through the portal, up, down, and pull it back through. Quite horrifying for the dwarves on the other side who had no clue what was going on. Just a dead dwarf being shook up and down and pulled back through a portal. When now the portal's broken, we can't go that way, so we backtrack, make our way through other parts of the city, run to more portals. We come upon a giant door, giant metal door. with a metal rod sticking out the side of it. Turns out that's how you open the door. It slides. It doesn't pull or push. The troll and the half ogre grab hold, slide the door open, and they see a large cavern, and there are some doors up on a ledge. Turns out there are dwarven mages, and we have bolts of fire coming at us. So we slam the door shut. They explode against the door, and the door starts being pulled back open again from the other side. As soon as it opens up a little bit, stick my head through, since I'm the smallest goblin rogue, stick my head through, see that there's several dwarves, 4 or 5 dwarves, manning the handle, pulling the door back open. Tell my friends, the rest of the party, the ogre, half ogre, and the troll grab the door, slam it open, which means the bar catches the dwarves in the chest, sending them backwards, pins them against the wall. I run into the room, run off to the side, try to hide, rogue. More firebolts are starting to come down. They slam the door shut again. They explode. They ram the door back open again, pinning the dwarves again against the wall. I run over, I start pelting with alchemist fire. I see that there's a hole, kind of a passageway above them. So I climb over them, since they're pinned against the wall by the metal rod from the door. Climb into the room, and I start, just sneak attacking them as best I can. The archer is pelting the dwarven mages on the ledge. And then there's we see a troop of dwarven elite coming towards us. Or towards the rest of the party. I'm in the passageway, making my way wherever it's taking me. They slam the door shut. The half ogre and troll slam the door shut. And then they get a running start. They get a running start, slam into the door, pick it up off the rail, carry it forward, and just tilt it. And it falls onto the dwarven elite, luckily, who catch it, but upend it, so it's on top of them. The half ogre and troll are pulled up on top of it by the momentum. So they're on top of it. So we got this palanquin or dais with the half ogre and troll, the giant door palanquin, and then the dwarves under it. The troll jumps off, starts raking at the dwarves underneath the door best as he can. The half ogre just decides to start dancing. Does an Irish jig, jumps up and down, stomping on the door. You got the trolls, the dwarves are just under, having to bear the weight as the troll swats at them. Meanwhile, the archer is shooting at the mages, and the mages are streaming down some firebolts. Doing some good damage. The leader finished off. Only the archer can attack the mages. The half-ogre and troll don't really have a good way. But this is an unfinished room, so there's actually rubble laying around. The troll grabs a rock. No chance of hitting the guys. Low dex, range penalties, but chucks it anyway. Nat 20. Critical hit, confirms, just murders one of the dwarven mages. Comes falling down, splat. I've made my way around where the ledge is taking me. It apparently leads up to where they are. So I sneak up, start sneak attacking. We managed to finish off the dwarven mages, and the troll goes and gets that rock. Declares it Luck Rock. The Luck Rock. Now, throughout the rest of the campaign, whenever the troll later, he just has it, uses it, gets another critical when he needed it. Whenever we tried to use the rock where we didn't need it, we'd always miss. But anytime that we actually needed that rock to hit something, it basically rolled a critical hit, which is hilarious that it just keeps working out that way. So it got dubbed Luck Rock of the God of Slaughter, because we're playing kind of an evil party. We don't do anything too evil. We're just playing evil characters to juxtapose what is normally played. But we're not just going off murdering cities full of people. We're just playing monstrous characters against the rest of the world, leading we're like a vanguard, small scout squad for an army. You know, we're learning ahead, doing what needs to be done while the army's advancing. But we finish up there, and we run into a small room at the end of an area. And it's got a dwarven champion, essentially. He's got runes on him, not a lot of armor. Turns out these runes are very magical, and they're giving him all kinds of buffs. It ends up being a pretty rough fight until we decide to smash the portal that led us into this room. So we smash the portal, and then it's basically just a grapple check after grapple check. The troll and half ogre are trying to grab the dwarven champion that we can barely hit. They do grab him because grapple checks are a lot better than to hit rolls. And we're just shoving him towards the portal. My goblin and the kobold are like prying his fingers off anything he tries to grab hold of. The troll and half ogre just shove him towards the portal. Eventually, we get him through the portal and just Genzu half his body. His buffs were too much, we couldn't actually do anything else. DM thought it was hilarious, though hated us for it. It was his portal rules, so... but there was that, and we had this idea to go back and get the giant door, and we carried it with us when we left. And we actually ended up rescuing a dragon later, and we get the door enchanted to fly. So we're using the giant door as a giant flying platform. End up putting spikes on the bottom of it. We put a ballista on the top of it. And basically we're using this as our mode of transportation. Ends up being a great weapon. Great thing to have. We ran into the dragon, when we rescued him, gave us a means to... Well, he also gave us a quest. We had to go rescue someone for him. Make our way through a dwarven... so another part of the dwarven city, and we get to the area where the prison is, cells. Somehow we figured out which of the dwarves was the warden, and I ended up getting disguised. Might have been magically disguised. I don't quite remember. As him, I think it had to be magic. It had to be magical for me to be just like him. So, dragon may have cast disguise on me. I don't quite remember that part, but I'm disguised as the dwarven warden, and we found his magic goblet earlier in the campaign. This goblet is great. It converts any liquid you pour into it to any other liquid you want. I believe converts it into a non-magical liquid. I can't just, be turning water into healing potions and chugging it down. But, I can turn water into ale, wine, whatever. And I get stopped by the guards. They want the password, despite knowing the warden, protocols. I'm stalling, buying time. I don't know what the password is. Trying to intimidate them, let me through. End up, just taking the goblet, trying to buy time and drinking from it. And I see a word at the bottom of the goblet. Apparently the warden is either drunk so much, because of the goblet, or whatever, he put the password at the bottom of the goblet. It's like, we were wondering, how does the DM expect us to know the password? We're carrying around the password with us for quite some time. Anyway, finally make a spot check to see that as I was taking a drink. They let me through. We rescue the woman. Take her back to the dragon. The dragon gives us a horn that when we blow it, we'll summon him. One use thing. Only use when really needed. We leave his lair. We decide we're going to betray the dragon. We want his loot. We want his hoard. So we prep. We get ready. Rig up the door. And we blow the horn to summon the dragon. Now, apparently, the dragon and the woman were lovers. and they were in the midst of being reacquainted. DM sometimes does weird things. So we summon a polymorphed dragon that's naked. He's polymorphed into a human, naked. So we land the giant flying door on him that has the spikes at the bottom. He didn't like that. So he starts to polymorph back into a dragon. Most of us jump off to fight. Remember, he's expanding up as he changes into the spikes that are on top of him. So these are digging into him. The cleric decides the cleric stays on the door and decides to spin the door. So you've got this giant floating door with spikes at the bottom, spinning, turning the spikes like a blender as the dragon is expanding up into it as he's shape-shifting back into the dragon form. So it's just tearing him up. Tearing him up. And once he turns to transforming, he turns his head up around, look at the ogre, half-ogre, and the half-ogre just lets him have it with a ballista. We end up killing the dragon fairly easily from that point. I can't remember if the ballista killed him right there or if it took another round, but it ended up being fairly easy because of the prep work. Prep work makes tough battles easier. Remember that, people. Prep. Always prep. Now, so we loot his horde. We've got a good bit of money now. We've got the luck rock. We've got the flying door. My goblin had found some very interesting weapons off the dwarven mages. I was trying to decide if I wanted to go two-handed, dual wielding, or if I wanted to just go improved feint. Well, ends up the DM gave these mages a very odd melee weapon. They were enchanted to be plus 15 to hit. Not damage buffed, just to hit. Now, this is not an epic campaign yet. We are probably 5th, 6th level, maybe 7th level. We're under 10. Under 10, but above 5, I believe. So somewhere in there. So we're just starting to get stronger and stronger and more powerful. And we find these really odd weapons, mage blades. He called them mage blades. So it just completely changes my rogue's, to-do list when it comes to feat selection. No longer going to worry about the 2 weapon fighting feats. No longer going to worry about the improved thing. I'm just going to dual wield plus 15 to hit swords and eat the penalties because I'm still way ahead of the curve, even with like the -8 from being for not having dual wield feats, 2 weapon fighting feats. Later, we do some plains hopping, and we end up at a town that's next to the River Styx. In this setting, I think maybe in D&D in general, but at least in this setting, the River Styx, when you drank from it, wiped your memories. You completely forgot everything about your past. Complete amnesia. No save, no resistance. We needed some money, so I had the idea that we got this goblet. So we go buy some empty casks from the town, and we rig it up where we have the casks, the goblet tilted up. We build a little platform for it to rest on, and we just started carefully scooping up the water from the River Styx, pouring it into the goblet, and the overrun from the goblet would run to the other casks. We had to change out the cask one at a time, but it was converting the water into ale and wine, and we made a few different beverages. And then we sold these for a decent profit. At one point, I ended up making somebody mad. And basically we had, I don't quite remember what set up the bet, but the bet became drinking water from the River Styx. I had my goblet. He didn't know it was magical, and all he had was a random mug. So we both take drinks from the River Styx. The goblet protected me by converting the water into harmless, ale, wine. But he forgot everything. So we got this new amnesiac just wandering around. No longer an issue. But pretty good campaign. Pretty fun. Unfortunately, we didn't keep going with it. We never finished it. But That flying door came in handy a lot. Use it as a general general travel platform instead of a wagon. We use it as a weapon. We actually ended up after. And we didn't, there's some skips here in the story. We used it some before we fought the dragon. Had some battles. Came very in handy. But once we actually killed the dragon, we took the head of the dragon. We found a wizard's tower. At one point, we went back to the wizard. And we convinced him / paid him to help us rig up the dragon's head on the door. So now we had the ballista, the spikes in the bottom, and we had the dragon's head mounted. And we got it to where the dragon's head would once a week, might have been once a day. I don't remember the frequency, but it was not too bad that we could get this fire breath of the dragon. So we got a pretty decent AoE now on the door. The DM was conflicted on the door. He loved and hated it. It was kind of throwing things off in his campaign, but he loved what we were doing with it. We lost it when we had to plane hop, but we later had found a scroll to basically open a gate for us, and we were able to get back the flying door. So that was pretty fun. All that there. Let's see. Anything else from this campaign? That covers the highlights. Really fun. A lot of crazy stuff happened, like I was saying about the flying door, the luck rock. Basically, as long as your DM is allowing it and everyone's having fun, you can get some interesting things happening like that door. I will say this, the half-ogre cleric ended up being a little unbalanced for the campaign. Now, we are able to power game. We try not to because it throws things off too much. The real key is party balance. If everybody's a god, it's fine. It's balanced. If everybody's a peasant, that's fine. It's balanced. Problem is when you get some unbalances, the issue ended up being that not that the half-ogre was wrecking everything, he was too hard to hit for the DM. He had a very high AC and some DR, thanks to the Abyssal Hero defeats and some other things he had taken. And so whatever could hit him wrecked the rest of us, and whatever was a balanced fight for us couldn't hurt him. So just remember, party balance is the key, not party power level, party balance. And from there, just try to have fun. Thank you. Have a good day.